Thanks for joining us tonight for the Three Fires Council training on fall recruitment. We've still got some people joining us and jumping on, but we are very excited about having about 50 unit leaders from across Three Fires Council joining us tonight. So the purpose of this kind of meeting and training tonight is for us to talk about fall recruitment for Cub Scouts. We've got some resources that we want to share with you and different ideas to get us kind of started about how do we invite families to join Cub Scouting this fall with all the circumstances that are facing us in our society right now. So before I move on too much more, I think we had an issue with my mic, but I think that's taken care of now. If you have any issues hearing or seeing anything that's on the screen, or if you have any questions as we move through tonight, please use that chat feature. Hopefully you all have access to it. If you're on a mobile device, it should be just a separate tab that you can click. If you're on your computer, it should be on kind of the right-hand side of your screen. But that is really the best place for you to post some questions and for us to have some dialogue for tonight. And we'll kind of monitor that chat feature and get to questions. We may not get to them right away, but we will definitely get to them throughout the call as much as possible. Okay, so if you're having any issues, just let us know and our team will help you out with that. So let me introduce myself. My name is Zach. I am the field director in Three Fires Council for Potawatomi and Ottawa districts. And like I said, I'm very excited to be sharing the resources and talking about getting ready for fall recruitment this fall. So hopefully everybody is up and going and you can see the screen. What you're looking at right now is just the Three Fires Council website, hopefully a tool that you're all familiar with. So right on the home page of the website, when you scroll down to kind of the featured events, which are those picture tiles that you see on your screen now, the first one right now, and it might get bumped to second or something depending on what's going on, but right now the first one is Cub Scout Recruitment Tools. When you click on that, it's going to take you to our Cub Scout Recruitment website, which will look like this. We have designed this to be customizable and flexible because we know that PACs across the council are going to look very differently this fall. So we want the tools to be flexible depending on the availability that you have to reach out to families through schools and community organizations, and your availability getting together as a PAC and your comfortability, frankly. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how this site is laid out, the resources that are inside of it, and how they can be customized to you. So because of our social distancing and limiting our contact with meetings, we thought that the website would be more useful than a printed guide, which is what you probably are used to in previous years. So the first thing that you'll see on the website is the Recruitment Guidebook. So we do have it listed here so that it's something that you can download, that you can print out if you want, but the website is really kind of the recruitment guidebook laid out for you. So I'm going to show you when you click on that link, you're going to see that recruitment guidebook. Give me 1 second here. Oh. Apologize for that, my fault. So the recruitment guidebook is going to look a little different than it has in past years, partly because we are not doing one school night for scouting event like we've done in the past. That is one of the ways to recruit this fall, but as you'll hear tonight, there are other ways that we have as well. So the PAC Recruitment Guidebook is really intended to be used regardless of what kind of recruitment you're holding. And we'll get to the different types of recruitments that we think are best practices here in a little bit. So you'll see it's kind of laid out with certain resources, and we're going to cover all these on the website. So what you're going to see on the website is all of these tools, and you'll see that this guidebook is a little bit more interactive. So a lot more links embedded in the guidebook that take you back to the website. And it's all about helping your PAC be able to recruit, starting as early as being prepared with having a good program plan and a good budget, all the way through delivering on the promise that we give the kids and the families when they join. So I'm not going to dive into the details. We're not going to necessarily look at this guidebook verbatim tonight, because as you're going to see, it's going to be all laid out in the website. So I'm going to jump back to the website. And the next thing that you're going to see are three kind of best practices right now for Cub Scout recruitment. We hope to add more to this as we hear different things that PACs are doing, and as other ideas kind of bubble up to the top. These are the three that we have right now that we're going to talk about a little bit. So regardless of how you recruit, the next steps that we're going to cover on this website and that are in that guidebook will support all those recruitments. So the first one you can see is the school night for scouting. So when you click on that, link, it's going to open up a revised school night for scouting guidebook. The one from last year, was 20-some pages, and you can see this one is about 3 pages. So it's kind of a revised version because it takes out a lot of the other stuff and puts it on the website and talks just specifically about school night for scouting, and how holding a recruitment at the school is, one of our best practices. Now we know that that's going to look very different this fall as we talk to schools. So a lot of PACs maybe aren't going to be able to get into the school, but maybe the school will let you hold a recruitment out on the field or in front of the building, or somewhere on the grounds. We know that families, especially elementary families, feel very comfortable coming to their local elementary school. So as much as possible, we would like to hold the recruitment there, but we understand that there will be limitations this fall. So this guidebook for school night for scouting doesn't necessarily get into the details of how to set up the room and how to do all that stuff. But is a little bit more flexible, knowing that maybe you're going to be in front of the school door or on the baseball field or by the playground for a recruitment instead of in the gym or in the multi-purpose room of your school. Okay. So I'm going to jump back to the website again, and I'm going to copy the link and just drop it into the chat feature if anybody has the ability or wants to follow along on your computer while I'm talking. You can see the link right there, threefirescouncil.org/recruitment-tools is the website where you can find all this stuff. Okay. So school night for scouting, being at the school is one way, potentially the best way, but we know that there are limitations on that this year. So you can see that there's a couple of other options that we have listed there. One is a community campfire program. So this idea is all about basically doing a recruitment, but doing it at a place where you can have a campfire. Maybe your charter organization, for example, has a place where you can be outside and do a campfire. Maybe there's a community park close by, a pavilion at a forest preserve that's close by. Still want to stay pretty local because families feel comfortable staying local. But doing it outside somewhere where people can social distance maybe a little bit more, spread out a little bit more, and you can do a fun activity like a campfire. Maybe you roast some marshmallows, maybe you have a little program plan, which we've got an example of that in the community campfire guide that you can follow to do some camp songs and, just have a little bit of fun and get some families out. The other one that we have listed right now is a PAC parade. So maybe gathering together and being at the school isn't an option for your PAC. Maybe gathering for a community campfire isn't an option either. The Pac Parade would be a third option where you pick a neighborhood, you get the pack together or a few families together from the pack, you decorate cars, and you do a drive-by parade. You can put yard signs on the car, other decorations that we have that we can provide some of, and you can be creative with your scouts to provide the rest. If appropriate, you can have a flyer that you can hand out to people that are interested. But you can have a parade in certain neighborhoods trying to promote joining Cub Scouting. And some of the packs that we've talked to, like the Pac Parade, maybe even leading up to one of their events. So maybe you're going to do a community campfire, and a Pac Parade is a way to help promote it because you're going to struggle to get into the school for flyers or whatever it happens to be. So a Pac Parade can be a standalone event, or it can be kind of partnered with an event to help promote that event. All right. Again, use the chat feature if you have any questions. I'll try to pause periodically as we kind of move through to allow you to ask some questions. And if you're having any issues hearing me or seeing the content, then by all means, please leave that in there, and we'll try to get that worked out too. So we want to dive into the steps of a recruitment. So regardless of if you are able to do a school night for scouting, a community campfire, Pac Parade, or something else that your pack is working on, or something else that you hear, kind of the steps to be ready for recruitment are all the same. So step one is being prepared. And this isn't just talking about being prepared for the recruitment, but just kind of being ready to answer questions that new families have when they join. So the first thing that you see listed there is our ideal year of scouting. Talking about, how do you plan your pack budget and your pack program? If you have those two things laid out, then you will be ready to answer a lot of the questions that families have when they want to join, right? They want to see a calendar of the things you're doing. They want to know when meetings are, which might need to be adjusted based on where you used to meet and if you have that availability moving into the fall, or if they're virtual meetings. They also want to know the cost, right? And we'll get into that a little bit further, but having your pack budget done allows you to be able to tell them how much it costs to join your pack and to join Cub Scouting. And then also the supplemental end of that is the fundraising that your pack does to help offset that cost as well. So the ideal year of scouting, if you're not familiar with it, is a great resource. And it just kind of walks you through the steps of how to do that planning. If you need help with that, we'll be happy to, volunteers and staff at the office will be happy to work with you to get kind of ready for that. The thing I want to focus on in this step is a couple of these buttons. The first one is the new member coordinator. This is a official position for any pack, and this just kind of lists the job description. We don't want to add on to what the packs are doing, but having a new member coordinator, somebody that is designated to help with recruitment events and to welcome new families, is really an important person within the pack. Ideally, it would be great if that position is not done by somebody that's already doing a lot in the pack, like a Cub Master or a committee chair. And it can even be divided among a couple of parents. If there's one leader that can't be found for it, then there's the potential that you can split it up across a couple of parents. So this just kind of talks about that role, why it's important, and how to kind of fill that role as new member coordinator. All right, so the new member coordinator would be somebody that ideally would sit on your pack committee, would work with the committee chair to be able to plan your new member events, right? So the recruitments that we talk about, the parent orientation, kind of all that stuff that goes into getting new members to join and onboarding new families in that process. And that would be, something that maybe is very heavy in the fall but also for units that recruit in the spring, somebody that maybe does some of that stuff in the spring as well. Okay. So a couple other things we want to highlight in step one, getting ready and being prepared for recruitment. So you've got your program planned, you've got your budget planned, you've got a new member coordinator or people, or parents in the PAC that will help take on some of the roles as a new member coordinator. So kind of the next thing that you want to look at and make sure that it's up to date, especially in the virtual world that we live in right now, being socially distanced, is the Be a Scout. So we've got two resources up here. We've got a video on how to update your Be a Scout pin, and then we've also got a PDF. So you can watch a video and kind of learn what that looks like, or we've got a video option as well. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, they have National has recently, about a month ago or 2 months ago, has totally changed how you access the Be a Scout pin. So you're going to want to look at these updated instructions on where to find that information and to make sure that it is up to date. Especially this fall, we plan to help PACs promote their recruitment nights through social media again, putting advertising down, creating Facebook events, helping to drive traffic digitally to recruitment events. So having your Be a Scout pin updated is going to be very important, because it is where a lot of people are going to be driven if they find your PAC or they find the recruitment your PAC is doing online. So making sure that you've got the application status turned on so people can apply online. Even if that's not something that you had turned on before, we really recommend that you have it now. It's always something that you can turn off later, but especially this fall, as some recruitments may not be in person, it might be virtual, or people might be uncomfortable coming to recruitment but still want to join. Being able to join completely online and fill out that application, we think, is very important. And then also having the right contact information, right? You want to make sure that that contact information on that pin is up to date, so that if they don't want to apply online and they just want to ask some questions, they have that option, and they know how to reach out, and that information is going to the right person, not last year's Cub Master or somebody that or the email doesn't work on there. So having that contact information on there is very important. So this PDF just kind of walks through how you update your pin. And then, like I said, we also have the option to watch a video on how to do that too. Okay. So the last thing that I want to bring your attention to on step one, before we move on, sorry, I saw a couple of comments that the link wasn't working, so I'm going to put it in there again so that you can try that one. Apologize for that. So the last thing we want to look at in step one is your PAC recruitment sign up. So this is just a Google form that when you're ready, you can fill out. You don't have to have your perfect plan in place. By filling out this form, it'll help your district volunteers and your professional staff be able to reach out to you and help you with your fall recruitment. So you can see on here that it's got some basic instructions, and I'm just going to run through just a little bit of it with you just so that you can see it, right? Like most forms, we want to know who we're talking to, so you're going to fill that out. You're going to give us your PAC number. You're going to tell us what district you're in. All right, and then clarify for us whether you're a boy PAC, a girl PAC, or a family PAC. And then we'd like to know for you if this is your first year helping with recruitment or if you've done this before, and that'll just help us be able to support you a little bit better. If this is your first time kind of doing fall recruitment, then we want to provide you with a little bit more support than maybe somebody that's done it for 4 or 5 years. So you can choose to answer that how you want. And then the next one's going to ask you if you are the new member coordinator. If you are, then simply say yes. If you're not, then you can say no. But there's a couple options there. Maybe you know who the person is, then you can say, you know, I am not that person, but I know who is. And if you click that, then it's going to take you to a page where you can tell us who that person is. Or maybe you guys, the PAC doesn't have one. In that case, you can tell us that we don't have anybody serving in this role. Again, that information will help our volunteers be able to reach out to you, and our commissioners be able to give you the support you need if we know exactly who we should be reaching out to, your experience level, and whether or not you have that new member coordinator position filled. So I'm going to mark yes for the sake of moving on. And then I've got to wait a second here for the screen to pop up. All right, so the next page that it's going to come to is just some general questions about fall recruitment. This again will help us be able to know what resources we can help provide you with and get you ready for fall recruitment. So is your Be a Scout pin updated? All right, yes, no, you're not sure, or you need help. All right, does your PAC have your 2020-2021 calendar, program calendar, ready to be shared with families? And I think that ready to be shared is important, right? So maybe it's a printout version of the calendar. Maybe you use a Google Calendar that you can share out to families. Maybe you're using some other platform for the calendar, but do you have a calendar that is easily shareable? That's going to be important as you recruit new families. And then the same thing with your budget. Do you have a 2020-2021 budget? With fundraising ready to be shared, right? I think it's important to be transparent with families, tell them what the PAC budget looks like, what the cost is, and then how that money is used and where it goes. And then of course, what the expectations are with fundraising, right? If you have a policy in your PAC that families have to do a certain amount in popcorn sales, then we want to be upfront with that right away, right? So you can indicate your level of preparedness with your PAC budget. And then one of the other crucial roles is, do you have a lion coach ready? So if your PAC is getting ready to recruit lions, it's very helpful if you can have a volunteer that is already lined up to help support that lion den. So it's not a den leader for the lions. It's just a coach, somebody that those new families can go to with questions about lions or about Cub Scouting in general or about the PAC. Ideally, this might be somebody that was just in the Lions program that has become very engaged with your PAC, and because they were so recent in the Lion programs, they can provide a lot of good support to those families and a kind of hey, we just went through that, right? You guys are doing great. Just kind of be that coach person. That is an important role that can help with retention of those families, those scouts, and can turn those parents, those new parents you've recruited, into potential leaders in the next year or two. So I'm going to answer that and we're going to move on. I see there's a question about the cost for scouting. We're going to get to that in a couple of steps. So I'm going to table that question and I'll get back to you in 1 minute on that one. All right, so the next section of this form is now your fall recruitment plans, right? So we want to know what schools you recruit from, right? And then the recruitment information. So you'll notice that not all of this is required information. So if you don't know all these answers, that's okay. You can fill out the form. You can tell us a little bit. Maybe you just needed to fill out the beginning part to let us know that you need help with your PIN or your budget or whatever it happens to be, but you're not really ready to talk about the rest of recruitment. That's okay. Fill out the form the best you can. send it in and we'll reach out to you and help you with the things that you need. So this is intended for you to tell us, you know, the school. That you recruit from. You can give us the address. If you're ready to give a recruitment date, if you have one, then you can select that right here through this drop-down menu. And then we're asking every unit to consider a backup date for all recruitments they do, especially if you're going to be in front of the school or on a field or outside doing a community campfire. We think that best practice for the plan is to have a backup date ready to go. That way, if it rains or something happens, you immediately have a next date that you're available to go to instead of trying to go back to the drawing board completely. So we'll select a couple days after for our purposes for this. And then you're going to tell us the recruitment time. And then it's going to ask you this question at the bottom that says, do you have another school you recruit from? So for some PACs, they have one school that they draw from, that they draw most of their membership from, and that's it. If that's the case, then you're going to hit no, and you're going to move on with the survey. If you do have another school, which a lot of our PACs do, then you're going to hit yes, and it's going to ask you to tell us who that next school is. It's going to look very similar to the screen that you were just on. And again, that doesn't mean that we're expecting you to have all the answers that you need, but we want to know, you know, the schools that you're intending to recruit from. So you can see it popped up to the same information. So our first school was Ridge, and this one is Oak. Let's say we don't know the recruitment date for Oak. We were ready for one for Ridge, but we really don't know what we're going to do for Oak. So I'm just going to leave the school name in there, and that's our only other school that we recruit from. So I'm going to hit no, and I'm going to move on with the survey. If you're having trouble hearing, you know, make sure to check the audio on your side. I see somebody commented that they're having trouble hearing. There might be a lag too sometimes where the equipment and the bandwidth and stuff are just kind of catching up. So that's why I'll try to take pauses throughout this training, not to take up more time, but just to allow sometimes for that audio to catch up at times. So I see that comment that you're having trouble hearing. If you're still having trouble hearing in 20 seconds, shoot me another message, please. Okay. So the next part of this form is just talking about some other things that we really want to encourage PACs to do. So you've got your recruitments lined up at your school or your two schools that you're going to do. Maybe they're not at the school because you're doing a community campfire, whatever it happens to be. The next thing we want every PAC to consider making part of the plan for this fall is an Ask a Friend event. This can be an existing event or PAC meeting that you already have. So maybe you're planning to be in person for your September or your October PAC meeting, or you've got a picnic that that you're going to plan on doing, or a back to school type of event. That would be a great Ask a Friend recruitment event. So we want to know if you're interested in that. And then if you know what that event would be, you can put the date down right there. If you don't know but you're interested, then you can just leave the blank date and tell us that you're interested. But the reason that we put this in here is because we want every PAC to consider making this part of the plan, not an extra thing that we think of in the end of September or in October when maybe our recruitments didn't go as planned. If we build it into our plan now, then we've got a better chance of success. Ask a Friend events can be very successful because you can go to your families ahead of time. You can ask every family to think of, 5 friends. They can be friends of the scout or family friends, and you can provide those families with some sort of invite. It could be a digital invite. It could be a postcard. We've got some resources on our website also that you can print out, invite a friend cards or other cards that can be sent out and used. So an Ask a Friend event can be very powerful for a recruitment. Okay, so the next part of the recruitment is the parent orientation. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we go back to the website, but this is asking for you to give us that date if you are if you have yours kind of lined up and ready to go. If you don't, then you can just leave it blank. And then the last section here talks about a last chance rally. Again, kind of like the Ask a Friend event, it's something that if we build into the plan now, it's not something we have to be surprised by or come back to. This could be an October or even a November event or PAC meeting that you already have planned, and its purpose really is to give everybody that maybe came out to a recruitment or said they were interested but never officially signed up yet one more opportunity for them to come out and to get signed up to join scouting. So if you've got a date of an event or a meeting or a good time frame that you think you'd like to do that last chance rally, then you can fill it in there, and then you'll go ahead and submit the form. So this form gives us a lot of information. It's intended to kind of help you work through the plan a little bit too. So maybe you get to a question and you say, oh, I hadn't thought about an Ask a Friend event, right? Or our PAC calendar really isn't that shareable because we do everything on Facebook or whatever it happens to be. It's meant to kind of prompt you a little bit and then allow you to answer those questions or to leave it blank so that our membership team, our volunteer membership team, and our staff at the office can reach out to you and follow up with those things that you said you needed help on or would like help on, or the things that were blank to see what we can do to help you in those areas. That's really the intention of it. So that's step one, kind of getting ready and preparing so that you have the materials and the stuff that you need for your recruitment. I'm going to move on to step two, and that's all about identifying. So we really think this fall, our access to be able to put flyers out and to do certain things that maybe we're used to doing will be limited. So step two is about identifying families that are interested in joining scouting, and it talks about building an event, an invite list. This is something that I know some PACs do, but we would be very happy to help encourage PACs to start doing if they don't, right? So an invite list is literally what it sounds like. It's a list of people that might be interested in joining scouting. And it's got their contact information and who they are, right? So how do you get that list, right? There's a couple of suggestions on how you do that right here, right? So it can be through an Ask a Friend event, right? That you do. You ask every family to write down 5 families or friends that they think would be interested in joining Scouts. And you can add those to your invite list, and you can help give resources to those families so that they can follow up with them, right? That's the suggestion halfway through on Buddies. You can get lists sometimes from schools or from classes. Some schools use a system like Power School to communicate with families or other platforms to communicate. Sometimes all it takes is to ask the teacher or the principal if we can post a flyer there, or we can reach out through that, and some will let us. Never hurts to ask, right? Sometimes we've even had schools that would let us give them information that they could send out through those tools that they have. So that's one way. Another way is through your charter organization or churches or other community groups that are around where your PAC meets or your families are engaged in, talking to them about promoting scouting. At every, again, a little different this fall, but at events and at things that your PAC is a part of, when you have a sheet out on the table that says, sign up if you're interested in scouting, those names should always be added to your invite list. Names digitally from Be a Scout also. People that say that they're interested or reach out to you through email or through the Be a Scout platform should be added to that invite list. So when you kind of have a list of families that are interested or are, prospects for joining scouting, this gives just a little kind of backdata on a good way to use that list leading up to a recruitment event. And the real hook here is that if you have specific people that you can reach out to for recruitment, then you can send them a personal invite. A lot of times we hear from families, they say, when we ask them, why isn't your kid in Scout, or why haven't you guys joined Scouting? The number one answer we get back is that they were never invited to, or they were never asked to. And sometimes those families will have gotten a flyer or saw a Facebook ad or saw something, and we might think of that as an invite, but it's not to them. An invite is someone personally asking them to come out with the intention of signing up. So having your own invite list that you can reach out to with an email, with a phone call from a den leader, with whatever it happens to be, gives you that opportunity, and it allows you to kind of ask for an RSVP for your recruitment, right? When people RSVP for something, they are more likely to show up, right? Because they feel like they've made a commitment and they have to be there. So it just kind of gives you an example of how you can use an invite list like that. And then the last section on here talks about how to manage that invite list. Places like Constant Contact or MailChimp allow you to have free accounts up to a certain amount. There are several PACs that have a free account, and they use it just for their invite list. So they put the names in there and they send out messages through there. You can send out RSVPs through platforms like that as well. And the nice thing about a tool like that is that if a family says, you know what, I'm not interested in getting this information anymore, they can click unsubscribe and they're automatically taken off your list for you. So it's, one of those tools that kind of helps you monitor your list as well. And it gives you a little level of professionalism in the stuff that you're sending out. It allows you to brand it for your PAC, put your own information in there. So just a suggestion for this fall, knowing that things are very different with how we're going to do stuff, but not just promoting your event, which we're going to talk about next, but actually identifying specific families that can come out and then trying to reach out to them. Okay. So I see a couple of questions right there. I see a couple about the survey. We can put up like a PDF version of the survey. It sounds like that would be helpful for some of you, and then you can print that out maybe for your committee meeting or for your purposes to review those questions that are in there. That's a great suggestion. We will add that to the website, and that's exactly how that Google form and that survey is intended to be used. It really is kind of a guide to help you spur those questions. So thank you for that question. We'll make sure to add that up there so that it can just be kind of a PDF version of that. Another question that I see came up was talking about a virtual invite a friend without cyber chip for the friend. That's a good question. I'm going to table that one and let me think on that and see if I can get an answer back for that one. And I'm going to throw it out to the group. If anybody's got an answer for that, then you can reply in the chat feature also. I think because they would be a friend, they're not necessarily part of the program yet, so that requirement wouldn't apply for them. We would want to use best practices with, still obviously our 2 deep leadership that applies to online, having, their parent or guardian that's a part of that online interaction, so it's not just a youth. But I will see if I can get a more detailed answer on that for you. So I also see in our questions, talking about recruitment and how it's going to be difficult. Our volunteer membership team and our staff have talked about this probably more than anything else, and that's why we want to hold a training like this, and that's why we really hope that we've designed our resources and our tools to help identify that and to give you a spectrum of things you can do, right? For some PACs in our council, which spans several counties and goes all the way from very dense pockets in Aurora and in DuPage County, all the way to rural areas, all the way out into DeKalb and Yorkville, things are going to look different. So we want to give you that spectrum. So a school night for scouting event at the school is going to be possible in some of our communities, and it's not even going to be thinkable in some of our other ones. But a community campfire or a PAC parade is going to fall more in line with that. We also want to do a little bit more and develop some virtual options as well. So PACs that are comfortable doing some sort of virtual recruitment. We've got a couple resources that I'll share as we move on to the next steps, but offering that, right, and that'll be going back to the Be a Scout pin. That'll be very important to have things like that up to date, because we know that a lot more families are operating in that virtual space. And that's where they're doing a lot of their engaging as a family with their kids, is in that virtual space. So we want to make sure that we are there as scouts. Yeah, many families are avoiding large crowds. We want to be in compliance with the best practices that are being put out there by the state and by the health officers in the counties and stuff. So we don't want to be going against that. We want to be in line with it, which again, we hope that by providing some of these different ways to do recruitment, it allows us to do that. And that kind of comes back to the steps again, that again, regardless on how we recruit, whether it's at a school, at a park, online, doing a PAC parade, a lot of these steps still apply to no matter what type of recruitment we're doing, right? We've got to be prepared with the resources to answer questions about programming and budgeting, right? It's important to have a new member coordinator that can help plan these events and new families can go to get questions answered. It's important to have Be a Scout updated. So regardless of what type of recruitment we're doing, we know that those things are important to the success of a recruitment. So keep the questions coming in the chat feature. Like I said, try to get to all of them. If it doesn't feel like I get to one when we're done, I will pause and look through those questions again so we can answer more. So moving on to step 3, that's all about promoting. This is very traditional to what we've done in the past, right? Different ways to promote our recruitment. So a couple of things I want to highlight in here. The first one is ordering recruitment materials. So this is just another simple Google form that allows you to order recruitment materials that you think will be usable for your recruitments this fall. So I just want to show that to you quickly here. And this form is intended for you to fill out for each recruitment you do. It's like a one recruitment. So if you have a couple of schools that you're recruiting from, then you can fill this form out for each of those recruitments at each school. So again, we'd like to know who we're talking to. So you're just going to fill out that basic information. You're going to tell us what PAC you're with, the district you're with. You're going to give us the recruitment date. You'll notice on this form, the recruitment date is required, because by now, if you're ordering recruitment materials, then you should know what the recruitment date is. On the other form, it wasn't, because that was intended to get the conversation going and for us to help you figure out that date if you need that help. So this one, we know what our recruitment is. We're going to say that it's the 25th of August. We're going to do it at 6 p.m. And it's important to put an end time because we're going to help do marketing on Facebook for these events to help drive some digital traffic to these events. So it's important for us to know kind of your targeted end time. You know, maybe most things that you do an hour, so you're going to say it's going to be an hour long. Maybe you want to put an hour and a half, whatever it happens to be. But that recruitment end time is important so that we can do the online marketing appropriately. And then you're going to tell us the school. And then you'll click next. So then it's going to talk about materials, right? You can get a couple of posters if those are appropriate, and if you have a place to put them up. You can get a couple of yard signs for every recruitment that you do, which we think that type of visibility is very important this year. And then if you have maybe you are doing an invite a friend event or something like that, we also have stickers that you can order as well. Traditionally, we would use those in the schools when we do Cub chats and those kinds of things. But maybe you've got a use for them in the type of recruitment you're doing, or you're doing a Pac parade and you feel it's okay to hand out stickers, so you want to use stickers for that. We put them up there so that we can so that you can have access to them. So the next information is also important, especially to allow us to help help market this via social media. So the location, maybe the target of this recruitment is the local elementary school, but you can't have the recruitment at the local elementary school. So instead you're going to be at a park, right? Or some other venue. Maybe you will be at the school. So the recruitment location is cannot necessarily be the same as the target of your recruitment. There's a difference there, right? Our targets are kind of our schools, right? And we may or may not have the actual recruitment at the school. Address, so that you can tell us, so that we can geofence it online, where we'll put up an electronic fence in social media, and that allows us to market that recruitment within specific boundaries. Another important thing is your Pac dues. Again, we'll after the next step, we'll talk about the cost of Cub Scouting and answer some of those questions that I see about that. Sorry, I was looking at some comments trying to answer those too. Pac dues is important. It is an important element that if you put that down, it helps us be able to answer questions out of the office or for other volunteers as we field calls and as people reach out to us. So that's a nice piece of information for us to have. If you know the Pac dues, then you can put that down there. And then if we're doing physical flyers, or something else where there'll be a contact listed for the recruitment, that's where you would put this information. If you don't want any personal information on the flyer, then you can indicate that as well. And we can put the office down or something like that. I think most people are comfortable with a contact on flyers. It helps drive people towards your recruitment. I can call up, ask questions. I know sometimes we get questions about, oh, I can't come, but we're interested, right? It gives people that option to reach out to you. So that information is important, and you can choose what information you want on there, right? Maybe you prefer to only have your email address, and that's okay. So to let you choose one or the other or both, and then you submit it. Okay. So again, this is intended for every recruitment you do. So if you've got 3 schools that you're doing different recruitments at or targeting, then you can fill this form out 3 times, get the resources for each of those schools. We will geofence and promote them on social media as 3 separate events. And there's no real limit to our availability with that. So we really do want to use that tool to promote your recruitment events. So the more you tell us, the better. So the other things on here are a promotional backdater. This is just a helpful tool that allows you to put in your recruitment date and then see some of the things that are best practices for promoting your recruitment. See if we can get it to load here. It's just it's simple. It's just a Google sheet. And if it pops up here, I'll be able to show it to you. You can just enter the date of your recruitment, and then it will autofill the other information. And then it's intended for you to print out or to save. Anybody could be in here at any time. I don't foresee a lot of conflict with that, but don't expect to enter your information and then maybe come back to it a week later and it to be there, because by then another Pac will have come in here and used it. So you can use it and then save it as a PDF, download it, or you can print it out. So it says it's still loading on my end. I apologize for that there. Oh, I think we're almost up and going. If it doesn't work, I think you get the gist of it if you see it on your screen. I don't necessarily have to walk you through it. But right here in this, there's two yellow boxes. Those are kind of the two fields that you can fill in. The recruitment date, when you click on that box, it'll just be a drop-down menu of a calendar. You can pick the date that your recruitment's on. You can, the other box is just your Pac number. When you pick the date, when you change the recruitment date here, it'll automatically change all of these dates to give you kind of an idea of how you should be backdating for your recruitment. And it's being a little slow, so I apologize that I can't show that to you. Hey, there it goes. So we're gonna pick, let's go with September 16th. You click on that date, you give it a second, depending on how fast your internet is at the moment, and then you'll see that it changed all these dates in column B to get us built up to our recruitment date. Yeah, anything from securing the location and updating your Be a Scout to ordering recruitment materials, getting the geofencing and the online done, right? And then it tells you kind of the support that we're able to provide on some of those as a district or a council. So just a helpful tool that we hope will kind of help us plan out our recruitments. The last thing I want to show briefly, this isn't anything new. This is a sheet that we've included in previous years. It just talks about different ways to promote depending on the access you have. So if you have full access to your school this fall, right, and then those are the things that we could do and should be asking about. But we understand that that will be very diminished this year. So maybe you have limited access to your school. So that next section talks about things that you can do if you have limited access. Maybe you don't have any access this fall to your school. So here's some suggestions on ways to promote if you have no access at your school. Now, if you have limited access, really we would encourage you to do the things in the limited access and the no access, right? It's not just the one bucket that you are in, but it's kind of the ones that are underneath it, right? So if the school is going to let you do flyers and put up some posters, that's great. Let's do that, and then let's do a bunch of the stuff from the no school access column as well. So that's a sheet that we've included in previous years. So hopefully it doesn't look new to anybody. Okay, just want to remind you to use that Q&A. I think we're getting caught up with all the questions. I don't see anything new sitting there. So if you feel like you asked a question and we didn't get to it, just repost it and keep asking questions, and we'll try to get to all of them. So the next thing that I want to highlight is the actual sign up event. So everything that we do in those first 3 steps is all leading up to the actual recruitment, to the actual signing up event. Now, depending on what we're doing, whether it's a back to school type or a school night for scouting type of event on school grounds, or a community campfire, or a bike rodeo, or whatever it happens to be, the most important thing is that, especially in the current climate, if families come out or join a virtual recruitment, they really probably want to sign up. Most of them, if they are asked to sign up, will sign up that night. And that's really the key, is they have to be asked. They can come, they can have a good time, but if we don't specifically say, here's the application, or here's the QR code, pull it up on your phone, I want to help you fill this out now, we want to get you and your family involved in our pack, it's going to be a lot of fun, then even if they intended to come and sign up, they may walk out the door because they feel, well, they didn't really ask us to sign up, so I guess maybe we'll go do something else. So making sure that you specifically ask them to sign up is very crucial at our events. So the one thing that I want to highlight here is recruitment activity ideas. This is kind of a bigger document, but the part of it that is very, very good, I feel like, is the part that talks about different types of activities that you can do for recruitment. So, these can be done at a school night for scouting if you're going to be out on the playground or in front of the school for recruitment. This talks about different activities, or has ideas on different activities that you can do in that type of setting. All right, maybe you want to build a recruitment around one of these ideas, and I'm just going to scroll down till I get to them so that you can see them. You can build a recruitment around some of these ideas here. There you can see, hopefully you start seeing them right now. Maybe a good social distant type of recruitment is a fishing event. Go to the local pond in the neighborhood, or at a local forest preserve or a park, and we're going to do a fishing event. Maybe that's what you decide is going to be one of your recruitments, right? Maybe, I think I mentioned this idea earlier, a bike rodeo could be a good socially distanced type of event also. The kids can bring their own bike, right? They can ride around on a course. So this just kind of gives ideas. Obviously, not all these ideas are appropriate right now, like a swim party. But there are good ideas in this sheet for other types of recruitments that you can be doing. So the most important thing with step 4 is committing them to signing up, making sure that they are specifically asked to sign up that night. So I know there's lots of questions on the cost. This is where we're going to talk about the cost of scouting right now. So you'll see this break on the web page between step 4 and step 5. This will be one of the biggest things that we know families are going to ask, and that you as the new member coordinator or as part of the recruitment event are going to be answering these questions. So there's 2 links down here. We're going to talk about this one first, the cost of Cub Scouting. The second link takes you to the council page that talks about the program fee. So in hearing feedback from other volunteers, we designed this page to kind of break down what the cost of scouting is so that it can be clear for new families that are joining. So we kind of broke the cost of scouting down into a couple of buckets. And if my internet cooperates here, this page is going to load. All right, here we go. So the cost of Cub Scouting. So the first bucket that we break it down into is the National BSA membership fee, right? That is the cost of scouting. So we really tried to build this as an intention to show the value that a family gets for each of the different types of costs. So you can see it explains it right here. Membership fee is $60, covers 12 months, prorated, right? And then it talks about the value, right? The general liability insurance, the background checks on all registered leader, youth protection training and resources, right? That kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna click on that fee structure chart, but I want to talk about the next bucket, which is the local program activity fee for Three Fires Council. All right, says it right there. The activity program fee, $60. Again, it covers 12 months of registration, and it's prorated. And then it also tries to explain the value there, right? Free local programs and activities for scouts and families. youth rank badges, right? Free youth rank badges, free Eagle Scout kits, free volunteer recognition items, accident and sickness insurance for members, unlimited tent camping, right? Free in-person required training. So again, just trying to explain the value that a new family gets by paying that cost, right? Both the national one and the local Three Fires Council program fee. So now I'm going to click on that fee chart because this fee chart has both of those things laid out in it. So this fee chart runs all the way to the end of December 2021. So in the third column where it says national membership fee prorated, you'll see the numbers kind of bounce around a little bit, and that's because it is already adjusting and built in for the increase in the national fee. It's at $60 right now. It goes up to $66. So that is already built in there, which is why sometimes you'll see that it's, you know, going down at a prorated amount, and then it seems to kick back up. Right, that's because that's already being reflected in this chart. Okay, so joining month, right, when a new family would join, and again, this is for new families, right? This is not for returning families, right, during recharter times. So you've got the joining month listed there. You've got the new member one-time fee of $25. You've got the national membership fee, again, prorated. You've got the Three Fires Council program fee prorated, and then you've got the total fee, adding those things up. Okay, try to lay it out simply and clearly, right? Didn't want to put in the adult fees on this. You know, other programs like Exploring tried to make it specifically for Cub Scouts, just to keep it, you know, as simplified as we could for you guys, and honestly for the new families. Okay, I see a couple questions popping in. If you've got questions on this fee chart and things like that, please keep those questions coming, and we'll answer them. Our moderator who's responding to those questions will answer them. I'll answer them as well. I see one question there. Has there always been a $25 new member fee? No, that is new. That was a new fee instituted by National. So that was not something that had traditionally been there. That came into effect this year, midway this year. Okay, I'm going to bounce back to our cost of scouting webpage. Again, keep those questions coming. We definitely want to answer them. So that fee chart lives on this cost of scouting page, which you can find off of the recruitment page that we were on. Our first two buckets, national membership fee, local Three Fires Council program fee. So we wanted, again, to be transparent with our families that are going to join, right? So what are the other costs of Cub Scouting? So we've laid out a couple other things in here. Uniform and handbook. This talks about the cost of the uniform and the handbook. The link here is not working right now. I apologize. I will get that corrected. But it opens up to a uniform checklist that has the prices on it, and it has the suggested uniform items and the optional uniform items on there. It also has information for the Scout Shop, both our Council Scout Shop in St. Charles and the National Shop in Naperville, so that families know where to go to get the uniform. And we hope that it spells out the cost, and we try to give a range for each rank, right? So for the Lions, and this is just an example, you know, the cost for the Lion uniform is between $25 and $45. So really trying to be transparent with the families and say, look, this is the cost, the uniform, the handbook. We will also on that sheet make sure that they understand that some of that cost is paid by PACs through dues, which is the next kind of bucket or box on the cost of scouting is the PAC dues, where we just simply say that many local Cub Scout PACs charge a dues. This supports the PAC and the things that the PAC is doing, and it also covers potentially some of the things like a neckerchief or a handbook or things like that. So we tried to link those two things together so that families understand that. And then the last thing that we thought was important that we wanted to highlight as a cost of Cub Scouting would be summer program, right? Summer camps. If I scroll back up, with the local program fee for the council, one of the things are free district activities and events. That link that is there again needs to be updated. I apologize for that, but right there on that button will be a list of all of the free district events around the council, so that you as a unit can plan on those, and you can build that into your PAC program plan, which we hope will offset your budget as a PAC, because you can rely on some of those district events, but it also show the families all the things that they can do. They can do things in their district, they can do things in other districts, in other towns, and there's really no limit to the things they can do. So maybe a family really enjoys a Klondike, a winter event, right? Or really likes Pinewood Derby. They could be a part of those in other districts if that's kind of their niche or their thing that they like. So back down at the bottom, summer camps we thought was an important thing to share as a cost of Cub Scouting. Just trying to be, transparent with families. Summer camp for Cub Scouts is the place where a lot of the promises are delivered on that we put on the flyers and we talk about when we talk to kids, right? Who wants to do archery? Who wants to shoot a BB rifle? Who wants to do this, right? A lot of those opportunities happen at summer camp. So if we're not upfront with our families about summer camp and the cost of summer camp, sometimes we miss out on delivering those promises because that might be the only opportunity that the families and the scouts have to do those things. So this is you guys are kind of this is the first time we've released this this webpage. I know there's a couple of typos in there. I apologize for that. We'll get those cleaned up. But we really hope that this is kind of a stripped down, clean version to help explain the cost of scouting to new families, giving you some tools and resources. If you see something there that you like, use it, let us know about it. If you don't see something there that you think would be important, please let us know. You can do that right now in the chat feature. You can reach out to us after the training, but we want this to be useful by you. So if there's another tool that you see or another way to present the information on the cost of Cub Scouting, we'd like to know about it so that we can provide that with you. All right, I do see some questions on the fee. I'm gonna let Ron, who's helping to moderate some of the questions, get to some of those, and then if we have some more, I will come back to them in a little bit. But for the sake of time, we don't want this training to go more than an hour and a half. So I've got you for about 16 more minutes. So I'm just going to move through some of the rest of this, and then we'll get to some more questions. So step 4, getting, actually signing them up, making sure that you make that specific ask when they do show up to whatever your recruitment is. Cost of Cub Scouting website we talked about. I won't talk about the council program fee website, but I will show it. This just has additional resources on the council program fee. If you need to dive into that a little bit more or read a little bit more on the council, Three Fires Council program fee specifically, this would be the web page to do it on. So we wanted to put it right there next to that cost of scouting web page. And you can see it's taking a minute to load here. I apologize. All right, let's move on. If it loads, I will bring it back up and share it with you guys in a little bit. So step 5 of recruitment is all about engaging. This is where we talk about parent orientations and making sure that you engage with the families. So when a family decides that, yes, this is the program they want to sign up for and they want to join Cub Scouting, we get them signed up. And then we think it's important that they are connected pretty quickly. So, maybe you hold your recruitment and your next activity or your next PAC meeting, whether it's in person or virtual, doesn't happen for 3 weeks. We really shouldn't be waiting that long to communicate with those families, right? A welcome email is a great thing to send out, that night after the recruitment or the next day. You can have it preloaded and ready to go. We've got a template right there that you can look at to just send out that welcome email. Hey, thanks so much for joining. We're excited. Here's a couple of things to get you started. One great thing to include or to get them started on would be Scout Book. I want to pull this up if it loads, just to share it with you. But getting them set up on Scout Book can be a very good thing to do in that time period of when they join to when the first meeting or activity is. So this link that I'm showing you right now, or that will populate real soon, here we go, talks about Scout Book tutorials for parents. You can send them this link. You can work it into your own type of email or messaging. It's got a couple of videos on it. It's got a couple of documents on it on how to get started, how to set up as a parent, screenshots. It shows you what the email would look like when a unit invites a family to get signed up on Scout Book. So just a nice little resource to walk families through this tool, especially right now as we do a lot of at-home scouting. That could be a nice thing to send out to families right away. We've also got a parent guide on here, which is a great tool, especially for parent orientations to share with families, that talks about, kind of gets them a little bit deeper into what is Cub Scouting, right? What is a PAC? What is this structure and this organization that I've joined, and how does it work? So this is a nice PDF, 8-page document that just talks about those things, right? It covers from the basics of what is the Scout Oath and what is the Scout Law. Talks about DENs, right? What they are, how they relate to grades, and their structure. Talks about the PAC. So just a nice little piece that could be useful for you. We also have a parent orientation agenda. We really think the parent orientation is important. I know sometimes, we've done 2-3 different recruitments and we've got a lot going on. It can be easy to maybe skip on the parent orientation, but I'm pretty passionate about the parent orientation because this is the opportunity for your PAC to engage these parents. If you recruit a bunch of new families and new scouts and get them in, and you don't set the expectations right away on the fact that this is a parent-run organization, and the PAC is successful because parents are engaged and step up to be leaders and volunteers and help support the PAC, then we've missed a big opportunity. So the parent orientation, I think, is really important. So we have an agenda on here on how to run a parent orientation. If you need help running one, our district membership volunteers and the staff are more than happy to help. I know I have run PAC meetings while the Cub Master and the committee chair run a parent orientation. So we're happy to help in any way. If you need us to come run the program of the PAC meeting while you talk to the new parents that joined, or all the parents together for the new year, then by all means, we're happy to do that. If it's going to be a virtual parent orientation, we're happy to facilitate that and help provide the resources for that too. So the next 3 things I just want to highlight briefly are just some information for your parent orientation and some ways to maybe get parents engaged. So the first one is a Pac Information Sheet. This can help a PAC or help a new family understand the PAC structure and who they should be contacting and what's going on, right? So it's just a simple sheet that you can give everybody, or you can pre-fill it out and send it out to people, that talks about, the PAC meetings, when and where they are, the PAC leadership and how to contact them, the costs, which can be customizable, the website. It also talks about the dens, where they meet, the time, who the den leader is, how to contact the den leader, that kind of stuff on there too. So just maybe a good form for you to use in those parent orientation moments to make sure families get connected with the right people. The other two documents here are all about trying to get your families engaged. The Family Talent Survey we've shared out for many years. It might be a tool that you're familiar with. It's just a way to get information from your parents so that you can then follow up with them on skills and resources that they have and how they can help the PAC with it, right? So basic questions about hobbies and interests, what kind of car they have, right? Maybe what they do professionally, what they would be comfortable doing and learning or knowing. But this can be helpful because then you can follow up with those families when it comes time to needing that resource. Or, hey, you said that you would be interested in this. We would like to do that at a PAC meeting in 2 months or whatever it happens to be, or we'd like to do it virtually. Would you help us with that? So that's a sheet that hopefully isn't too new to everybody. The other one I do want to share, though, which is, I think, kind of new for most people, is what we're calling the 100-point commitment. But you can call it whatever you want, and it's a Word document, so it's meant for you to customize in any way that you can that fits your PAC. It's loading if you give it one more second. But this tool is meant for you to really push out to your families that everybody pulls their weight in the PAC to make this successful, right? So the idea is that every family has to do 100 points, right? It has to be committed to 100 points of service to the PAC. And you can play with those numbers, you can change it, you can do whatever you want with it. 100 points just kind of sounds nice. And then you can see examples here. You can add examples, you can change these, you can weight them differently, right? But being a uniformed leader, done. You're at 100 points, right? If you sign up to be a den leader, if you get registered, be somebody on the committee in a committee position that's doing a specific thing, great. That's what we need you to do. You're at 100 points. Thank you so much. Not every family can do that, though. So then there are other things that you can list and suggest to them. And you can weigh these at different things that you want. But maybe you take on the planning of one event like a Pinewood Derby or a Blue and Gold, and you decide that that's worth 50 points. So if you want to do that, then maybe it's a husband and wife team, and together they equal 100 points because they're planning your Blue and Gold. Great. Pull them in and get them to help you out, right? And then it goes down all the way to things like maybe your PAC does a snack or needs a snack at something. Again, that may not be completely relevant with everything going on, depending on whether you're meeting in person or not. Or maybe you need people to be drivers to events, right? Maybe that stuff is 10 points each. So that's great if that's all you can do, but we really need you to do it like 10 times. To really kind of pull your weight. So this is just an idea and a tool that you can use to engage your new families. The bottom line in all of this for step 5, no matter what type of recruitment you do, once you get families signed up, we really kind of need to sell them on being engaged and setting the expectation early on. If we don't do it in that first year that they join, it's going to be much harder to get them to step up. And I think most families do want to help out in some way the best that they can, especially if they see that their scout is having a really fun time. So those are just some tools to help you try and engage those families. The last step, you can see there's nothing really there. We'll probably add a couple of things there, but the last step is kind of simple, but it really is important. It's all about delivering the promise. So I kind of mentioned it earlier, if we talk over and over again about the kids about archery this, archery that, right? BB guns this, BB guns that, swimming, whatever it happens to be, we got to make sure we deliver on that, right? And that's where the council and the district will have events that we talked about earlier, free events that that families can be a part of, where we really want to help your PAC be able to deliver on those promises, right? So when we recruit families and we tell them about all the fun we have, it's really important that we deliver on that. Sounds like a simple message, but I know sometimes it's hard. Events get canceled, especially in our current climate with different programming not being an option, it's easy for us to maybe talk about those things, to continue to put them on flyers and things like that. We got to find a way to still try and deliver on that expectation, because when a kid sees a flyer of kids having fun at camp, shooting archery, doing all those fun things, they really are expecting to do those, right? And we have to maybe help them understand that that's not going to happen in the dead of winter when they joined, right, or whatever it is, but that's coming down the road. But we have to deliver on that promise, and we really want to help you with that. The last part of the website is contacts. Local coordinators for recruitment. You can see there's different volunteers that are helping in different ways. We've got vice chairs of membership over the districts, Potawatomi, Ottawa, and Chippewa. We've got coordinators, membership coordinators that maybe are helping in specific areas. Maybe it's a specific school district that they're providing support to. So all the PACs that recruit out of that school district, that's the point person to talk to about recruitment. So you can see that we've got contact information there for the people that are here to help you with recruitment. Okay, so that is kind of fall recruitment in a nutshell. I know I talked a lot. I apologize that we didn't have some of our other presenters on, but we had some technical issues, so I had to fly solo. I know they are listening though, so I appreciate Tanya and Corey and Jay for being here to help do the presentation. Apologize that it didn't work out to have you guys actually talk. I could have used you because my voice is getting a little raspy. But appreciate you guys being on the call or on this training. It looks like all of our questions have been answered right now. So if you've got some more questions, please post them. We want to answer them. I can answer them if I see them to the whole group, or you can see them as you're going through the Q&A yourself. And you can see the responses that people are putting up there. But that is our fall recruitment. So as you can see, as we went through, this website has a couple of updates that it needs, but it's intended to be a living website too. It's not going to be static. We hope to add some more best practices here at the top. We know that some of the best ideas come from you guys. So as you start thinking about fall recruitment and the ideas and the ways to reach out to families, I know that there are going to be gems in those things, and we want to add those to the website. So make sure that you bookmark this page, and it's something that you come to and that you check to, because we do intend to put up more ideas and more resources here over the next couple of months as we move through fall recruitment. Okay. So that's everything that I have to say on fall recruitment right now. We will leave the meeting open. So if you have questions, the chat feature will continue to roll. So you can continue to write questions, and we'll continue to answer those questions through the chat feature. But I want to be respectful of your time. The training was meant to be no more than an hour and a half. I know we started a couple minutes late, but we are 2 minutes before 8:30 according to my clock. So I'm going to call that on time. And before we go, I want to thank all of you for all that you do for scouting. We have seen incredible things over the last 4 and 5 months as families have had to adjust how they do life. But through that, we have seen scouts do incredible things. Eagle projects that have continued on, service projects that PACs have provided, engagement with online scouting. The scouting community desires to be together. It desires to continue to help other people at all times and live up to all the things that we recite in the Scout Oath and the Scout Law every time that we're together. And I want to thank you guys, because I know that the 50 of you that are on this call help carry that message and are doing incredible things for the youth in our community. So thank you so much for that. With that, I'm going to turn off the video. The chat will continue to run. So if you have questions, keep asking them, and then make sure that you use the resources, and we'll be following up with each of you.